Are there any,
Should just scan this.
Okay.
Got you.
Yeah. Are we?
And how long is the drone footage? Okay.
Are we in the right spot? Looking.
Cool.
Okay.
If we can have all commission to cage side, please. All commission to cage side, please.
Is Bud Light a sponsor? Yes, it is.
No.
Oh.
They just didn't take it down yesterday.
Good deal. Oops. See how the lighting is. Oh, not bad. What's that? Nice.
I'm the most unphotogenic person you'll ever meet.
Disagree. We'll skedaddle our way back and do the thing.
DJ, if you would please, we're going to start a broadcast.
Garrett's had enough.
I guess. I don't think it's too loud.
I mean, it's kind of, yeah, I think we'd be fine, but hey.
No, it's quiet.
Yeah. Pretty good. Prelims, I guess people are coming in.
Back at the very end once you guys are done.
Fight fans will be starting our broadcast in 60 seconds. Uriah.
Carly Chandler with an opportunity to tap out the gold medalist.
This time he's in trouble.
Bad spot here. The submission, Miguel Ceja.
It's been an amazing night of fights. From top to bottom.
It is a busy time in combat sports, and the A1 Combat Cage has been just as busy. Last week, it was Sacramento. Tonight, we are located in the Central Valley, inside the Visalia Convention Center in Visalia, California, for Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. We kick off our prelims live here on YouTube. Hey everybody, I'm TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasta. We are live tonight here in the Central Valley for an exciting night of mixed martial arts action. And Johnny, last week we were talking about our preliminary card featuring some of the hottest up-and-coming amateurs. Tonight, our prelims feature some of the hottest up-and-coming pros who want to make a statement.
Absolutely. The sun may be setting slowly in Visalia tonight, but the spotlight is about to shine brightly on these 4 prelim bouts. Out of the 4 fights you're about to see, 7 out of these 8 fighters are making their professional debut. So TJ, let's see who's about to step up and raise their career to the next level.
Of course, it all leads up to our main card at 7 p.m. Let's take a look at some of the action you can expect tonight here from Visalia, all part of A1 Combat 21. We've got a phenomenal fight card headed your way. Uriah Faber is going to return tonight. He takes on Jeff Glover. And let's not forget about a title fight as well. The A1 Combat Lightweight Championship will be on the line as Christian Avalos returns to defend his title for the first time.
From top to bottom, this card has everything you could ask for. But without further ado, I think it's time to get these prelims started.
All right, now we're going to take a look at our fight card. It was coming eventually,
Oh,
Johnny.
there it is.
Here we
Okay.
go. As I mentioned, Uriah Faber returns to take on Jeff Glover. Christian Avalos going to defend his title against Justin Cornell. Chris McCante takes on Jalen Alston. That is all headed your way on our main card. But, of course, our prelims kick off with some of the hottest up-and-coming pros set to put on a show here, all part of A1 Combat 21. It's live, and it starts right now here in Visalia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we introduce our first fighter this evening, Blake DeCourcy.
Well, they call him the Snake. Blake DeCourcy making the walk, 20 years old. This will be the second time he takes the cage as a pro. Was victorious in his first time out. Scored a knockout victory. And now he wants to keep momentum on his side as he looks to represent the Classic Fight team fighting out of Fountain Valley. Makes a trek up here to the Central Valley to put on a show here at Uriah Faber's A1 Combat.
Yeah, we had a chance to speak with the fighters yesterday during weigh-ins, and, you know, Blake the Snake DeCourcy, incredibly likable, only 20 years young, and he said flat out, I'm a relatable guy that fights. He prides himself on being that lunch pail kind of athlete who puts the work in. He's determined to live his dream. Fun fact, he still works at Jersey Mike's, and in his off time, he trains as much as he possibly can. He's been training in Muay Thai since 7th grade, and thus far, he's been unblemished. 7-0 as an amateur, and won his professional debut, like you mentioned, TJ. Future's bright.
Yep, and you know, going back to training martial arts as a young child, started with Muay Thai, has really carried that into his MMA game, and we saw that on display with his pro debut, which ended in a second-round knockout over Martin Sandoval, who we'll see later tonight. But that happened in February of this year, and I like the quick turnaround. It's important to stay active as a young, up-and-coming pro, and DeCourcy's doing just that.
Of course, I mean, DeCourcy, he bounces back very quick. He left that fight relatively undamaged, and he said, I want to fight as often as possible. I want to rise the ranks here at A1 Combat, and he said he's been more detail-oriented than ever.
A sandwich artist by day and a mixed martial artist by night. Blake DeCourcy ready to go here in Visalia.
And now we welcome his opponent, Nick Fishback.
Here comes Nick Fishback, making the walk long walk all the way from Chicago. He's been training, though, here in Southern California at the Bloodline Combat Sports Academy. This is his professional debut. A hard-nosed wrestler, wrestled at the University of Wisconsin at Parkside. He's got about 2 years of MMA experience, but he really kind of made no bones about what his game and mindset is. He's going to call upon his wrestling skills, going to try to get the fight to the floor and lay in some ground and pound and just be that hard-nosed wrestler.
Yeah, to quote Fishback, when we asked him, hey, what's your strategy for the fight? He said, take him down, beat him up, finish him one way or the other. And, you know, being a two-time All-American, like you mentioned, at University of Wisconsin Parkside, he feels like that's exactly his bread and butter. That's what his plan is to do. He also says he lives by the catchphrase of Midwest activity. I had no idea what that meant, but he explained it. He said, you live your life as a workhorse, and when you win, you do things like enjoy a bush light in the forest. So to each his own.
I mean, that might be how they do it in Chicago or Wisconsin. It's not exactly how we do it in Minneapolis, where I'm from. A little too cold.
When he said bush light, he kind of lost me in that moment. But nonetheless, he is ready for this professional debut. 3-2 as an amateur. Big moment here for Nick Fishback and Blake DeCourcy. You
mentioned Fishback's amateur run, 3 wins to his credit, 100% finishing rate in all of those wins as well. 2 wins by knockout, 1 by way of submission. An arm triangle, was able to get a tap early as an amateur. We'll see if he calls upon any submissions here tonight. But one can expect the wrestling should be on display for one Nick Fishback. All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our opening contest here in Visalia for our prelims. 10 years the elder of DeCourcy is Nick Fishback, 30-20, 1-fight pro experience advantage for DeCourcy. DeCourcy stands a bit taller at 6 foot even to Fishback's 5'10". All square at weigh-ins with DeCourcy calling on that 1 pound allotment. All right, let's go inside the cage to Garrett Furtek for our official introduction.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Visalia Convention Center for Uriah Faber's A1 Combat. Streaming live on the A1 Combat YouTube channel. Tonight's event is presented by Tom Anderson Presents. The A1 Combat 21 prelims now open with 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. We introduce first the blue corner, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 146 pounds. Returning to A1 Combat after a second round TKO victory in his professional debut. Now 1-0, representing Classic Fight Team and the Den Training Center from Fountain Valley, California, Blake the Snake DeCourcy. Now introduce his opponent fighting out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing 145.4 pounds, 3-2 as an amateur. Tonight, he makes his professional debut representing Bloodline Combat Sports from Chicago, Illinois. Please welcome Nick Fishback. Your referee, Dan Manriquez.
Here we go, featherweights inside the A1 Combat cage to get our night started here in Visalia. TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasta. Appreciate you joining us here live around the world on YouTube. It is the Snake, Blake DeCourcy, wearing the red trunks, taking on Nick Fishback in the black.
And during the tail of the tape, obviously we saw the 10-year age discrepancy, but do not think that DeCourcy being 20 years young is a deterrent, because quite frankly, he has been efficient, he's been consistent, 8 fights at this young age already, and just speaking to him yesterday, he is so wise and mature beyond his years.
Now Fishback trying to wrap up this guillotine. Clearing the legs, though, is Fishback. Now working this anaconda choke here is Fishback. See if he can get the roll through here.
Great movement by Fishback.
Wants to walk up the body here if he can on DeCourcy. DeCourcy shutting it down for the time being.
There it is. Go hip switch. Hip switch.
All right. Bails on the choke, but this is exactly where Fishback wanted this fight, on the floor in top position. But now we see DeCourcy trying to wrap up a leg here.
Fishback wasting no time taking down DeCourcy. He's been smothering him the entire round thus far.
Fishback looked to frame up an arm triangle there for a brief moment, bailed on it. Now back to that front headlock position, and they stand.
Fishback has a lot of knockout power as well. Yes, he is a two-time All-American wrestler. He does want to take down DeCourcy like he just did, but 2 of his amateur victories were via knockout.
Watch his shot attempt. He's going to go right-handed shot.
Into the body there, launched by DeCourcy. Going back to that wrestling is Fishback and able to secure the takedown. Wrapping up that neck, though, is the classic fight team product. 2 minutes of elapsed time here. Now we see the Midwesterner bringing that lunch pail to work here. He's been keeping that pressure on DeCourcy. DeCourcy's been doing a good job, though, at trying to break up the flow and sort of, pace that Fishback is keeping. But now, Fishback trying to work this guillotine choke, and he's going to bail on him, trying to get back in top position.
Aside from the technique, Fishback just looks incredibly powerful.
Utilizing that whizzer here is Fishback, and he gets back to his feet. Nice left hand there by DeCourcy in the break. And look how calm DeCourcy is. You can argue that he hasn't really been fighting his fights, forced to respond, but now he's starting to come alive with some offense of his own.
This is what DeCourcy wants. He wants to be able to create space, wants to hit some rangefinders. And in the first 3 minutes, it's really been Fishback in control. Let's see if he can find a way to gain a little offense here the last 2 minutes of the first round.
Fishback changing his stance, going from southpaw to orthodox. Really on the feet, kind of just loading up with the right hand. Where you see a lot more volume, a lot more variety in the strikes from DeCourcy.
And that's what DeCourcy wants. He wants to land as many body kicks as possible.
And as this fight goes on a little bit longer, you might see DeCourcy tend to get a bit more dynamic, just like he is right there. But when you throw the legs at a wrestler, I've said it once, I'll say it again, sometimes they become like handles.
You make yourself very susceptible. Now, granted, he did follow up with a nice combination there, but Fishback was undeterred.
Now on the back is the Chicago native.
It appears that, Fishback is opened up. It could have been the knee. Maybe it was the 1-2 following the knee that did it.
It looks like the cuts on the hairline inside the final minute of this opening round. Now trying to work a takedown of his own is DeCourcy, and he gets it. See if he can secure the position. The wrestler getting back to his feet. 30 seconds left in the round.
Very
nice
powerful
knee.
base for Fishback.
Ooh, nice elbow there on the break by DeCourcy as well.
Very calm demeanor from DeCourcy. It was a really rough couple of minutes for him, but he has found a way to maintain his composure and really ending this round with a nice flurry.
5 minutes in the books between these featherweights. Opening round of our opening fight here in Visalia. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Johnny. I think it was a bit of DeCourcy having to work.
Yeah, DeCourcy, this is the knee that, and Fishback told us flat out, he wanted to overwhelm DeCourcy right from the jump, and he certainly did that. But once again, DeCourcy showing a lot of maturity and not being overwhelmed.
And a lot of composure, just the way that he's able to sort of deal with the problems that Fishback is throwing his way on the floor. He's never really panicked. There was a moment where he's caught in an anaconda, was able to get through that. And, as long as Fishback has the sort of firepower underneath him and his legs underneath him, these takedown attempts are not going to stop. And DeCourcy, I think, is doing a good job at being comfortable with them, being defensive with them, but also still maintaining his own offensive mindset.
It's really up to DeCourcy at this point to know Fishback's going to shoot, and can he find a way to sprawl, stay on his feet?
Fishback goes back to southpaw. And, kick to the leg. Definitely going to be on the mind here of Fishback, but he's able to secure this takedown. See if he can maintain top position. Can't really afford to be back on his feet with the leg offense and kicks of DeCourcy.
Yeah, it was the push kick there that left him open, and Fishback charged right in.
Yeah, DeCourcy, I think, hurt him with that kick to the lead left leg. Still on the single leg is Fishback, and he lets it go. So now back on the feet. See if DeCourcy goes back to the leg attack. He does. Trying to figure out if Fishback has a bit of a tell on what he wants. He went back to southpaw and immediately shot. He might only shoot from that side. One of those cases where he might be a striker orthodox, but a shooter standing southpaw. Now trying to wrap up this inverted triangle here is DeCourcy.
Thus far, that's certainly been the go-to for Fishback, but great recovery here by the Snake.
Both arms are in, so there's no triangle there, and DeCourcy wisely gets back to his feet. So here in this orthodox stance for Fishback, I think he's a striker here. Ooh, nice right hand gets through. And now it goes briefly back to that southpaw, but again to orthodox.
Fishback has a lot of force behind that right hand, just unable to land thus far.
Able to get the takedown once again. Now trying to turn the position, put the wrestler on his back is DeCourcy.
Fishback is starting to enter some uncharted territory for him. All three of his finishes as an amateur came in the first round.
Yeah, and I mean, those finishes are all 2 or 3 minute rounds as well. So now at about the 7.5, just past the 7.5 minute mark of a 15-minute fight. Working this takedown attempt still is DeCourcy. Fishback able to get back to his feet, now back in space. 2 minutes left in the round. To Fishback's credit, in this round, he's throwing a lot more volume with his hands. Earlier in the fight, it was really just kind of exploding over the top of that overhand right.
The corner of Fishback instructing him to throw an uppercut because DeCourcy is dipping his head, but once again he shoots in.
It's under 90 seconds left with DeCourcy trying to wrap up the neck. Might be in business here. A lot of time here for DeCourcy to work, and you can see Fishback able to roll through and get back to his feet. Touch over a minute remains.
Good patience there by Fishback. Could have been a dangerous spot there. Oh, right hand lands.
The wrestler engaging in a firefight with the Muay Thai-based athlete. Coming alive here with some hands and a big explosive double leg there for Fishback. Drags DeCourcy back to the floor.
Fishback seems very comfortable exchanging with DeCourcy, knowing that he'll take him down at will.
Fishback utilizing the hammer fist here to the side of the head. Some elbows there for good measure. Now he goes to his back here, arm in guillotine. Fully locked on guard here. DeCourcy might be in a bit of trouble here, short time.
He's got a good angle there.
10 seconds left in the round. Can DeCourcy hold on?
DeCourcy in a full sprawl to try to hang on here. And he survives.
Bell sounds. DeCourcy taking his time as he gets back to his feet. Fishback really went for it. See if he gasses his arms out at all as we go into this third round. But very competitive fight, and it doesn't feel as much of a classic striker versus grappler matchup. You have the Muay Thai athlete taking on the collegiate wrestler, but DeCourcy, he's been going for takedowns of his own. He's been, offensive minded with submissions off of his back. Take a look at some of the action here. Johnny, walk us through.
Really tremendous start to the prelims. First round was a lot of Fishback shooting in and grappling with DeCourcy. This time around in the second round, a little more vertical, but almost every single time there was an exchange, Fishback knew immediately following that exchange he was going to be able to take down DeCourcy, and he was successful just about every time. Very close call, though, for the judges throughout these first 2 rounds.
Very important final 5 minutes hanging in the balance here between these two gentlemen. Again, our first fight of the night here in Visalia. Appreciate you joining us. I'm TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasto. It is Uriah Faber's A1 Combat. And we are underway, our third and final round between Blake DeCourcy and Nick Fishback.
We were starting to see some fatigue there in the second round throughout the strikes. A little bit less force behind them.
Doubling up on that jab is DeCourcy. Trying to get a reaction out of Fishback. Right hand gets through there by DeCourcy. Both these guys a little hesitant here, getting things going in this very pivotal third and final round. Nice kick to that lead leg.
Yeah, right to the calf.
I mentioned that left leg was a target earlier in the fight, and obviously still bothering Fishback as he eats another one that nearly drops him.
Fishback just switching back and forth in stance. Oh, right hand coming in.
I think you see the approach here by DeCourcy, maybe a little more conservative, because he knows that anytime he gets too aggressive, Fishback's going to lower his elevation and try to shoot in for those legs for the takedown. Ooh! That one was another kick that definitely hurt Fishback. Fishback back to his feet. I think both legs are compromised at this point.
Especially the right leg. That kick landed right on the muscle belly of the gastrocnemius. Very painful. And now Fishback's going to, in desperate ways, try to keep this on the mat the rest of the fight.
Yeah, he does not want to have to stand in front of DeCourcy for any more amount of time than he has to.
Fishback's he's going to try to use that right leg as the lead.
Right hand gets through by DeCourcy. Back to the orthodox stance for Fishback, and half-hearted attempt at a shot. Bailed on it. Now gets a bit better look at it and is able to get the fight to the floor.
This is where DeCourcy has to be incredibly aggressive, because it is a very close fight over the first 2 rounds.
He's got a good grip there. He bails on it, does DeCourcy. Now trying to stand Fishback, keeping the pressure down on him.
Oh, both hooks in for Fishback.
A lot of time here to work. DeCourcy trying to shake him off and get him high. Trying to go out the back door. Nicely done by DeCourcy, but now in on a leg attack is Fishback.
Difficult to see if, oh, okay, there we go.
Doesn't really have a good angle here.
No.
Might be able to try to switch off to a toe hold. Looks like Fishback maybe try to come out on top here and secure better position for himself. That's what he's looking for, trying to secure the back. Of course, he's shutting it down. Able to get free. 90 seconds left in the fight.
Very pivotal final 90 seconds here in the third round. Opening prelim bout for A1 Combat 21.
Back in this orthodox striking posture is Fishback. Now he lowers the elevation, shoots in, able to get in on one leg here, but utilizing the sprawl is DeCourcy. Hammer fist down from DeCourcy. Holding on to that leg for all he's worth is Fishback.
Oh.
Still trying to secure another takedown here is Fishback. And DeCourcy tries to step over and walk away and finally does get free. Now back in space.
Who can finish with a flurry here in the final 20 seconds?
These men are going to war here to end this fight.
DeCourcy landing a couple of shots there.
Final few moments in our
nice
opening fight. And that's a wrap. 15 minutes in the books. The Snake, Blake DeCourcy, taking on the wrestler, Nick Fishback. It's going to come down to what the judges saw over the course of 15 minutes, what they value more. I mean, we saw a lot there. If damage is the main criteria, I don't know where your head is at. What do you think, Johnny?
That's very difficult to call. Bottom line is both of these fighters can now say they have gone a full 15 minutes in a cage professionally. So massive moment for both Nick Fishback and DeCourcy as you go back to check out some of the action here in the third round. And you know, it was a really nice finish to the fight for DeCourcy. Landed a nice left, powerful right hand. And you know, Fishback, to his credit, did recover from the issues with the gastroc there, especially on the right leg. So this is going to be very close. I mean, when it comes to takedown attempts, Fishback was successful just about every time. Very high percentage there.
He didn't do a lot, though,
No.
with the positions in which he got from the takedown attempts.
Yeah.
You know, he was impressive on the feet. I mean, if you look at the face of Blake DeCourcy, I mean, he's marked up. You can tell he was clearly in a fight. You know, credit to Fishback for playing a well-rounded game. He's not a striker by trade,
Right.
and looked good at moments. But also DeCourcy, again, a Muay Thai fighter by trade. You know, he flirted with a lot of submissions and had to utilize his counter wrestling. And, you know, I think both men have made decent arguments, but we'll see how the judges land with this one.
There was a moment where Fishback had DeCourcy in a little bit of trouble with the guillotine, but DeCourcy was able to get out of that. And then, of course, we saw the signs of damage on Fishback as well. So, nonetheless, tremendous professional debut for Nick Fishback. And Blake DeCourcy, will his record stay unblemished? We'll find out, but nonetheless, very bright future for the 20-year-old.
All right, the judges have tallied their 10s and 9s. We're going to go to Garrett for our official decision in this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action-packed action, here in our opening contest at A121, we go to your 3 judges at cage side for the decision. Your first judge, David Shirley, sees it 30-27, while judges Jonathan Romero and Felicia O both see it 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision, Blake the Snake DeCourcy.
Still undefeated is the Snake. Blake DeCourcy gets his hand raised. Unanimous decision goes his way. 130-27 to 29-28. And I agree with the decision. I thought it was a close competitive fight. You know, hard to make the argument that one fighter won all the way through,
Right.
but yeah, good competitive fight nonetheless to kick off our night here in Visalia.
It really was. We couldn't have asked for more. Personally, I saw Fishback. I thought he did enough in the first round, but DeCourcy really was in control for the most part the second and third rounds. Incredible composure, like you said, TJ. He withstood the early storm, the early barrage from Fishback, and just maintained. So impressive for a man of his age, moving to 2-0 as a professional.
Yep, carried that undefeated record into the A1 cage tonight, and the momentum is still on his side as Blake DeCourcy showing off that flying knee against the wrestler, and a very dynamic striking game. Was taking out the legs and the base of the former University of Wisconsin wrestler. Nice right hand by the Snake.
Not a lot
Left
of power behind his strikes, but very consistent. But I guarantee you, DeCourcy does want to go back to work on getting a little more force behind his strikes. But nonetheless, with his range, very dangerous.
All right, phenomenal first fight of our night here in Visalia. The Snake Blake DeCourcy getting it done. I'm TJ DeSantis. He's Johnny LaQuasto. I am way too close to this camera.
I think, we can move a little bit.
We might have to.
Look, the camera loves you, TJ.
That's
it's
not
okay.
True. That's not true.
Well, it's very subjective.
We love fights, though.
We do.
Yeah, and our night continues here live in Visalia on YouTube with our prelims. You're watching Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. Garrett Fertzig, take it away.
And now, ready to make his way, Joaquin Garcia.
Joaquin the Dream Garcia making the walk tonight. Pro debut. Amateur record of 5-3. Won his last 2 fights as an amateur. He represents Team Oyama and Kings MMA, 2 very good teams in mixed martial arts, and he hopes to shine tonight as a pro for the very first time. He's got some finishes on his amateur reign or run, and he would hope to keep that intact here tonight and show that he's a finisher at the pro level.
Absolutely. Joaquin Garcia feels very at home here in Visalia, California. Former 5'9" middleweight champion as an amateur. 2 finishes in the first round in his amateur career. And, has a great pedigree. He's a cousin of Anthony and Sergio Pettis. Also a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Considers himself a freestyle fighter, but also a former all-state wrestler in high school. He says his strategy, simple. He's going to shoot in. He's going to take his opponent down. That is the strategy he hopes to employ.
He's a purple belt under UFC fighter Beneil Dariush, who's in his corner here. And when you look at Joaquin Garcia, you mentioned the relation to the Pettises, 2 MMA world champions, training with Beneil Dariush. There could be some pressure there to perform, and perform quite well as an amateur. We'll see if he can continue that as a pro.
A lot of pressure, but when you grow up in this sport, I feel like this is something that he just felt like he was born to do. And after 8 amateur fights, he told us yesterday, he said, I just had that feeling after my last fight in December. I just waited for that right call. And that call came, and here we are, prelims for A1 Combat 21.
Well, they call him the Dream. Joaquin Garcia enters the A1 Combat cage where he hopes to be a nightmare for his opponent.
And now we welcome Kenneth Clark.
Kenneth Clark found mixed martial arts a very unorthodox way. Served a stint in prison, met former UFC fighter LeVar Johnson there, and LeVar sort of granted him his wish. Kenneth Clark said, I want to be a fighter. No one better than LeVar Johnson to introduce you to this sport of mixed martial arts. And Clark, he did everything to do to get ready, got an amateur run, 3-0, and now he makes his pro debut. It's quite an unorthodox way to become a mixed martial artist, but a mixed martial artist he is.
It really is, and TJ, you talked earlier about how important it is to stay consistent, to be proactive, and Kenneth Clark has no choice but to do that. He began his amateur career, like you said, just 1 year ago at 35 years old. 3 quick amateur fights, all successful, 3-0, and he knew it was time to turn professional. He said, even when he was incarcerated, training became his life. He said, I had nothing but time. All I did was train every day. There were times where I would shadow box for 6 hours at a time until I went to bed. And once he got out, a few months later, he took a fight on 4 days' notice. He has not looked back. So this is a massive moment for Kenneth Clark. A big portion of his life was spent behind bars, and he is certainly trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah, and he said that being a pro mixed martial artist has really added the structure he needs in life.
Yep.
And it's an uncomfortable life to live as a pro athlete. You don't get a lot of spoils in life, but he's a guy who says that less is more as far as keeping him grounded and keeping him focused on what he needs. And tonight, it's all about getting that first pro win.
It really is, and he owns up to his mistakes. He said, I served my time, and now it's my time to succeed. And he just told us yesterday, he said, you know, we asked him, do you feel 36? He said, no, I still feel 19. I'm ready to go. Very exciting moment here for Clark.
All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our second bout of our preliminary portion of A1 Combat. Both men making their professional debuts. Kenneth Clark, 14 years the elder of the Dream, Joaquin Garcia. We are official here in the welterweight division. All right, for our official introductions, we go back inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
Aloha Electric Sign Company and Hillenbrand Brewing present our next prelim bout, set for 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight division. We introduce first the blue corner, standing 6'1", weighing 170.8 pounds, entering the A1 cage for the first time as a professional. His previous amateur record, 5 wins, 3 losses, representing Team Oyama and Kings MMA from Orange County, California, Joaquin the Dream Garcia. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. At 5 feet 11 inches tall, his official weight 165.2 pounds, undefeated as an amateur at 3-0. Tonight he makes his A1 combat and professional debut, representing Ralph House MMA from Compton, California, Kenneth the Magnificent Beast Clark. Your referee, David Shirley.
David Shirley getting this assignment.
Oh, look, bro.
It is Kenneth Clark taking on Joaquin Garcia.
TJ, what an interesting dichotomy here. You saw tail of the tape. Garcia only 22, Kenneth Clark 36, yet Garcia is really the fight veteran here.
Fighter, you ready?
With 8
Fighter, you ready?
amateur fights under his belt.
Touch of gloves, we are underway. Kenneth Clark in the black, he stands southpaw. Taking on the Team Oyama product and Joaquin Garcia in the white. Garcia going for takedown here early.
We saw weigh-ins, Clark came in way under at just over 165.
Scramble for position here. Getting a look at the back here is Garcia. Got that left hook in.
This is what Garcia wants to do. Utilize that purple belt, those grappling skills.
Trying to rain down some punishment here is Garcia. Left hands, right hand, starting to add up. Now in a good position. They got the one-handed, one-armed rear naked choke victory. Joaquin Garcia with a dream-like finish. One-armed rear naked choke. You don't see that every day, Johnny. Wow.
You certainly don't, but Joaquin Garcia knows his skill set, and he utilized that skill set immediately. All it took was just over a minute. He shot in, he took down Kenneth Clark, and he was unrelenting once he took the back of Clark, and like you said, it was the rear naked choke, bringing home his first professional victory. I don't think Garcia could have written that up any better.
Absolutely not. A beautiful submission getting it done. Kenneth Clark forced to tap, and looking at what we saw from Garcia, you know, really set it up with the strikes. Wasn't just solely focused on trying to wrap up the neck. Utilized some punches from both sides, trying to go underneath the armpit from the back ride, and ultimately got a hold of that neck and didn't even really secure it the way that you normally see a rear naked choke end of fight. Just one arm, grabbed a hold of the shoulder, took it home.
Tremendous game plan for Garcia. 2 of his 5 wins as an amateur came in the first round. But you have to believe Garcia, he was ready to go a lot longer than this, but quite frankly, he didn't have to. Kenneth Clark came in. He's a striker. He said, that's my bread and butter. That's what I wanted. Garcia knew it coming in. He was going to neutralize it. Neutralize it, he did.
Solid stuff here for the Dream. Joaquin Garcia. One-armed rear naked choke finish, getting it done. Now 1-0 as a pro. For the official time of the stoppage, we go inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
The rear naked choke brings on the tap. Official time, 57 seconds of round number 1. declaring your winner by submission, Joaquin the Dream Garcia.
Joaquin Garcia getting it done, and anytime you can do so in under a minute inside the cage, it's a dream-like night, and sweet dreams to say the least.
Absolutely beyond impressive. 22 years young, making his professional debut, and anytime you step in that cage as a pro for the first time, there's going to be butterflies, there's going to be questions. Not for Garcia. He was undaunted, and how quickly he was able to put away a powerful opponent like Kenneth Clark.
Phenomenal pedigree for this young man at 22 years old, training out of Team Oyama and Kings MMA with Beneil Dariush, the cousins of both Sergio and Anthony Pettis. And while it wasn't a Showtime kick by any means, it was still a very flashy submission for the Dream. Joaquin Garcia, one-armed rear naked choke, one that he will remember for a long time to come as he gets his hand raised tonight here for the first time as a pro in Visalia. Joaquin Garcia, definitely proud of that one, and for good reason.
Former 5'5" middleweight champion, and who knows, a couple more wins, he could be in contention at A1 Combat as well.
All right, our night continues live here in Visalia. This is Uriah Faber's A1 Combat.
DJ. Set now, making his way to the cage, Bryce Gonzalez.
Our night of professional debuts continues with Bryce Gonzalez making the walk for the first time as a pro. Stellar and flawless amateur run at 5-0. He picked up 3 wins by way of stoppage, 2 submissions, 1 by strike. And, you know, that's what I like so much about this A1 Combat show, especially, you know, looking at amateurs and helping them develop, and also bringing them to the professional ranks, Johnny, at this high of a level. All of these athletes are better win, lose, or draw for having experience on this type of show. And Bryce Gonzalez hopes to take that amateur experience he picked up and carry it over to his successful pro debut.
And TJ, it's difficult to hear you because the contingent for Bryce Gonzalez, they came out strong and they came out loud. And what's so interesting about Gonzalez, you mentioned the flawless amateur record at 5-0, but this is his first time in a mixed martial arts cage since 2016. He's had multiple injuries to deal with, including left labrum surgery, a broken hand, and an umbilical hernia, which, as a physical therapist, I can tell you it takes a long time to recover from that. But he also has 2 boxing matches under his belt as a pro in the U.S. and 2 more in Mexico. So he feels like he's incredibly well-rounded. So he said, don't sweat it. Ring rust is not going to be a thing for me.
An orthodox type of striker has converted to southpaw due to those labrum issues, and you know that just is a testament to his versatility and what he can call upon. When you have that type of your shoulder injury and you don't have the power you once did, to be able to make that move and call upon both stances, I mean, that is a weapon that a seasoned fighter has, not someone making their pro debut.
It's not just a weapon, it just goes to show how patient of an athlete he is, how undaunted he is, because quite frankly, that's something that could really end someone's career. That could cause you to step away psychologically, but not Bryce Gonzalez. He continued as a boxer, and he said, you know what, now's my time, and A1 Combat gave him the call. Massive moment.
Yep, you mentioned that inactivity when it came to MMA. You know, he thought that he was going to focus on boxing moving forward, but you could tell mixed martial arts was his love. And, you know, when you have the dynamic game that he does, training with Darren Chris, who's a phenomenal mixed martial arts striker, it's hard to sort of set all your weapons aside and just agree to box. So happy to see Bryce Gonzalez make the move back to MMA where he can call upon all facets of his game.
Well, I'm glad you brought up weapons. When we spoke to him yesterday after weigh-ins, he said, I have a lot of weapons. Whatever comes to me, I'll react. So he feels very confident without having a specific game plan as he enters this cage, as all of his fans let him know.
A long, winding road to his pro debut, but it has arrived for Bryce Gonzalez. He's ready to go here in Visalia.
On his way now, Gabriel Reyes.
Gabriel Reyes, training out of Hanford, California, not too far down the street here from Visalia. A wrestler at heart, started wrestling when he was at just 4 years old, and that has turned into mixed martial arts. We'll see how he calls upon that in this one. Trains with Jacob Jeff and Team Ochoa. Ties to the Tachi Palace does that team have, and you know, it's exciting to see these long-standing teams stick around for multiple generations, because Gabriel Reyes is one of those fighters that I would say is probably the third or fourth generation from his team, and he wants to carry on the tradition tonight.
And Gabriel Reyes feels very at home here in the Visalia Convention Center. All 5 of his amateur fights have been for 5.59 fights, 2 finishes, and 2 unanimous decision victories, coming in at 4-1. And you mentioned Tachi Palace. It was announced today A1 Combat will be back at Tachi July 26th, so we continue to steamroll ahead.
That's exciting for me.
Oh yeah.
I call it like 30 fights at Tachi. It's hollowed ground, Johnny, in mixed martial arts. The WEC started there, UFC veterans started there. It's just so much history in that place.
Well, I guess I'll surprise you now. I was going to add a framed photo of you on the wall as we arrive on July 26th.
That's not true.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
You're just gonna like put it up there?
Yeah, why not?
You might get banned.
Well, then you'll be calling it by yourself.
Fair enough. All right, take a look at the tail of the tape for our third bout of the evening here in Visalia. 21 years old is Gabriel Reyes. He is 13 years younger than his opponent, Bryce Gonzalez, both making their pro debuts. 4-inch height advantage for Gonzalez, both been on point at weigh-ins. All right, for our official introductions of this bantamweight bout, we go to Garrett Furtick.
A1 Combat now moves to the bantamweight division, presented by Sinar Factory and Hoffman Excavation, set for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing first, the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing 135.2 pounds. Coming in undefeated as an amateur with 5 wins, no defeats. He makes his professional debut representing Crisp Kickboxing and Team Soma from Tulare, California. Presenting Bryce Little Shifu Gonzalez. And now introducing his opponent across the cage, standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing 135.4 pounds, with an amateur record of 4-1. Tonight he makes his professional debut representing Ochoa Combat Academy from Hanford, California, Gabriel Gage Reyes. Your referee, Mike Bentran.
One of the best in the business, Mike Beltran, getting this assignment. Bantamweight's ready to go inside the A1 Combat cage. It is Bryce Gonzalez taking on Gabriel Reyes.
It's going to be very loud
right,
for these two athletes. A lot of fans have come out to support both Gonzalez and Reyes. You love to see it. For two fighters making their professional debut, this is a moment neither of them will ever forget.
Gonzalez wearing the Muay Thai trunks, standing southpaw. Reyes in the black, standing orthodox. TJ DeSantis, Johnny LaQuasto. Live tonight in Visalia, California, the site of Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21.
Distinct height and reach advantage for Gonzalez.
Ooh, that was a very nice kick, and he tries to follow it up with another, does Gonzalez.
Switching stances already, and oh wow, nice calf kick.
Oh, big looping left hand, just misses. Nice kick to the lead leg of Reyes.
Watch your fingers.
Gonzalez really looking to set the pace here in that southpaw stance.
See Gonzalez trying to cash in on that length advantage that he has here.
And if you're Reyes, do you really want to keep this fight vertical? Thus far, he has not attempted to shoot in, but might be something that he would need to think about.
Just missed with that spinning kick, and you saw Reyes feint that takedown right after, and he's proven to be a finisher as an amateur. Half of his wins come by way of stoppage, evenly split, both by strikes and submissions. Oh, beautiful front knee! Gonzalez in business.
was not happy about it, but what a barrage from Bryce Gonzalez. Perfectly timed knee, and he went in for the kill.
It looked like Beltran was going to initially step in, thought better of it, and then when he finally did, it seemed like Reyes almost came back to life again. And you know, he's young and hungry. He wanted to win this fight. He's very game, but I think Mike Beltran did the right call there, because that was a knee that had him hurt badly from jump.
And it really, from the outset, Bryce Gonzalez had the game plan. He stuck to it. He was so overwhelming. His offense was really his best defense. Gabriel Reyes could not find a way to have an answer for Bryce Gonzalez, and the knee was absolutely perfect. It stunned Reyes, and Bryce Gonzalez jumped right in with the hammer fist, and that was the beginning of the end.
Nice sign of sportsmanship as these two embrace in the center of the cage, and you know, it was a fun, exciting fight while it lasted, and if there's controversy, maybe we just do it again.
That's our second finish of the night, and I think, you know, Gabriel Reyes and Bryce Gonzalez both have bright futures, but Bryce Gonzalez, another fighter, he's in his mid-30s. He feels like he's making up for lost time, so he not getting paid by the hour in this one.
He said he was open-minded with his MMA goals, and you know, those goals might be changing, because that was a highlight reel stoppage to earn the first pro win of his career. All right, to make this one official, we go inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mike Beltran steps in and waves off the contest. Official time, 1 minute, 52 seconds of round number 1. Declaring your winner by TKO due to ref stoppage and strikes, Bryce Little Shifu Gonzalez.
Bryce Gonzalez has gone through a lot of transitions in his life as a combat sports athlete, and thank goodness the former boxer went back to MMA, because we saw all those weapons that he was basically leaving in the past on display here tonight.
This really was a joy to watch, especially after talking with Bryce Gonzalez yesterday. He said, look, I'll be honest, I lost track of how many injuries I've dealt with over the past decade, and to be able to make not only a comeback to mixed martial arts, but to be so precise. TJ, he looked dangerous in there. He looked accurate, and he was dominant in this victory.
Yeah, you can guarantee that anyone standing in his way in the future, they've got some things to worry about. A variety of weapons on display. You saw that hook kick, and then that jump knee plants his opponent to the floor, and it was just pretty much icing on the cake here. Trying to hold on as much as he could was Gabriel Reyes, but Mike Beltran forced to intervene, and it's a wrap. Highlight reel stuff for Bryce Gonzalez. And
credit to Mike Beltran. He wanted to give Reyes a shot there, but it became so overwhelming, he really had to stop the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Safety is paramount here at A1 Combat, and so is entertainment. And we've had plenty of entertainment thus far, and we're just getting started. Our night of preliminary action continues, all leading to our main card starting at 7 p.m. He's Johnny LaQuasto. I'm TJ DeSantis. You're watching Uriah Faber's A1 Combat. Cage-side here inside the Visalia Convention Center for Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasto, and we have seen pretty much nothing but action. Even in our match that went the distance, that thing was a banger throughout.
Fantastic first trifecta of fights here in the prelims. We have one more flyweight bout coming up, but let's talk a little bit about the main card.
Let's do it.
This has a little bit of everything. I mean, it's all going to be headlined by really two Hall of Famers.
Right.
Uriah Faber, Jeff Glover, Combat Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Combat Jiu-Jitsu is a hybrid of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the sense that it is everything you've come to sort of love from the submission-only movement with the addition of strikes. And this was Eddie Bravo's brainchild. he basically wanted to take it so submission grappling stars could take on MMA stars and meet in the middle, and that's exactly what we have. It is a sub-only match, 1 10-minute round, but the addition of palm strikes, Johnny, it changes everything.
Oh, Uriah Faber will be unloading those palm strikes early and often, but will Jeff Glover, the 2-time Pan Am champion, former no-gi world champion, you got to believe he's going to have an answer. But we also have a lightweight title bout. Christian Avalos, the land shark, looking to defend against Justin Cornell. That has all the makings for a firefight, as Avalos, he wants another win because he thinks he'd be getting a very important phone call coming up very soon.
Absolutely, and you know, they say you're not really a champion until you successfully defend your belt. Well, for Christian Avalos, he gets to hopefully pen the first chapter of his championship legacy. And you know, they say that the championship fight, it's, you know, one of the biggest nights, if not the biggest night of your career. But I almost argue that the title defense, Johnny, you might feel more pressure than going into a championship fight the first go-around.
I would agree with you, and Avalos probably would too. You know, he took that title fight on relatively short notice, but now he comes in as the incumbent, and he has been dominant throughout his professional career, but Justin Cornell has this opportunity for a reason. He's a dangerous striker. His Muay Thai is lethal, so very fun contrast of styles in this lightweight title fight.
And you mentioned for Christian Avalos, he believes that a successful title defense could net him the biggest opportunity one could hope for in this sport. You know, an opportunity to shine under the sport's brightest lights. And, you know, when you're doing it on UFC Fight Pass in front of a worldwide audience, you know the officials that can make that happen, they're watching because, I mean, it's on their platform.
Speaking of UFC Fight Pass, following these prelims, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, we will go live with the main card for A1 Combat 21.
It is the biggest no-brainer in combat sports. Just $10 a month can get you hooked up with so many fights from all around the world. And speaking of fights, let's take a look at our main card. We mentioned all headlined by Uriah Faber and Jeff Glover in a combat jiu-jitsu main event. Our championship lightweight title fight, Christian Avalos defending against Justin Cornell. Chris McCate, he's going to take on Jalen Alston. Shane Collins in action. He takes on Salvatore Bruno. And so much more. It is a stacked fight card, to say the least, Johnny. The second stacked fight card in as many weeks for Uriah Faber's A1 Combat.
That's what A1 Combat's all about. And McCate and Alston, that is potential to be fight of the night. I mean, start to finish, you have a lot of hungry fighters. We have multiple professional debuts. It's a can't-miss event, so thank you for joining us on YouTube.
All right, time for our final prelim of the night here in Visalia. For the first fighter's walk, we go inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
And now, to conclude our prelims this evening, please welcome Brian Benavidez.
After a 10-fight amateur record, Brian Benavidez ready to make his professional debut here tonight. Was chatting with him, with you yesterday, Johnny. I inquired about his nickname. It's Biscuit, spelled like the late nu metal band Limp Bizkit. And when I suggested that it was something he was borrowing from Limp Bizkit, I thought he was going to try to fight me right then and there.
Yeah, he wanted to break stuff the moment you mentioned Limp Bizkit. He said, I'm not a fan of Limp Bizkit. I don't think he even knows the name Fred Durst, but his nickname was Biscuit because when he was young, he would have a lot of fun outside. As he would come in, he would have red cheeks, and his family said, oh, you look like a little biscuit. But he is much more dangerous than a biscuit in the cage. 6-3-1 as an amateur. 4 of his 6 victories were first-round knockouts. He is a brick-handed striker.
I feel like we're getting trolled. Fred Durst wore the red Yankees cap, and Brian the Biscuit Benavidez just wore a red Boston Red Sox cap.
Once again, I think a very severe coincidence.
Okay, all right. You sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's what I like.
I mean, I stood next to Fred Durst once for 20 minutes. I didn't know it was him.
Okay.
That doesn't help the story. I'm just letting you know what happened.
I like it. All right, we'll see what Brian Benavidez can do. He described himself as sort of this sprawl and brawl type of fighter, really wants to call upon his power. You mentioned his amateur run, 4 first-round knockouts. Safe to say that you probably shouldn't walk away and get a beverage during the first round of this fight because it could be over before the time you get back.
Benavidez told us yesterday when we asked him, what made you turn pro? He said, once I hit my 10 amateur fights, that was my goal. And after December hit his 10th fight, he said it was time for the opportunity. And he got that call, and here he is tonight.
Brian Biscuit Benavidez hopes to turn up the heat in his pro debut.
Set now, making his way, Cyrus Pavor.
Cyrus Pavor also making his pro debut here tonight in Visalia. Started out doing sport karate, and that has transitioned into an MMA career that saw 5 amateur victories. And he hopes to cash in on the first win of his pro career here tonight. Said he didn't necessarily want to pursue a fighting career, but that's what he's doing anyway.
He is a very even keel athlete, to say the least. As we were speaking to him yesterday, he didn't have that certain level of excitement, but I think it's because he's such a focused competitor. You know, he's a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, came in unblemished, like you said, 5-0, 3 of them being first-round finishes, the most recent being for 5-5-9 fights back in January. Just very even-keel demeanor, and you know, it's very apropos. He's coming out to the Fuji's ready or not, because when you make your pro debut, ready or not, he's going to get in that cage.
Absolutely. For Pavor, you mentioned that 5-5-9 experience. They were in action last night, really the best amateur show that focuses solely on building amateurs in this sport. And we're going to see a lot of athletes tonight. We've already seen some with that 5-5-9 experience. Jeremy Luchow does a phenomenal job at running that. And I can't stress enough how important amateur experience is to get to an opportunity like this again, where you're fighting under some of the brightest lights you can here in this country.
And especially for 5-5-9, you're in front of thousands of rabid mixed martial arts fans fighting as an amateur. It really makes you feel like you're already at that next level. And when we spoke to Pavor yesterday about a strategy, very stoically, he looked back at us and says, Plan A, drop him with an elbow. Plan B, sprawl and brawl, isolate the limbs. So we'll see if either game plan comes into effect.
It'll be interesting to see if that sport karate background rears its head in this one. We should be in store for an exciting striking affair inside the A1 combat cage. Cyrus Pavor ready to go to work for the first time as a pro. All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our final preliminary bout here in Visalia, all part of Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. Both men making their pro debut. The Biscuit, Benavidez, 2 years the elder. It is Pavor that stands 3 inches taller, and we are set to go 3 5-minute rounds in the flyweight division. All right, for our official introductions, back inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
A1 Combat 21 concludes our prelims with flyweight action set for 3 5-minute rounds presented by Eagle Mountain Casino and NorCal Recycling. We now introduce first the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 125.7 pounds, 6'3" as an amateur, with 4 of his 6 wins coming in the first round. Stepping into the A1 cage, making his professional debut, representing Misfits Wrestling from Porterville, California, Brian Biscuit Benavidez. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing 123.5 pounds, entering tonight undefeated as an amateur at 5-0, with 3 of his wins coming by submission, 1 by knockout, representing Castro MMA from Manteca, California. Please welcome Cyrus Pavor. Your referee, Dan Manriquez.
Dan Manriquez getting this assignment. Flyweight's ready to go inside the A1 combat cage. We'll see both men make their pro debuts as Brian the Biscuit Benavidez takes on Cyrus Pavor. TJ DeSantis, Johnny LaQuasta, live tonight inside the Visalia Convention Center in Visalia, California, the site of A1 Combat 21. The Biscuit Benavidez in the white with black shorts, as is Pavor in the white. Swing and a miss there. Pavor. Oh my goodness! You want to talk about some karate kicks? There was one that found a target and landed with serious impact.
Pavor, a marksman early on. This is the lone flyweight bout of the evening. Both of these competitors lightning quick, and now Benavidez with the return.
The Biscuit with the right hand on the button. Now he's going to that guillotine choke, arm in. Trying to keep the pressure moving forward is Pavor. Able to get a good base, trying to elevate Benavidez. Unable to do so, so now he tries to step over the leg and trip him to the floor. He does. Scramble still going. Now Benavidez lands in top position. Nicely done.
Pavor briefly, great job getting out of danger, but Benavidez just smothering him so far. You know, Benavidez, 4 of his amateur victories coming via knockout, but very impressive thus far with the grappling.
See what he can do here as he's trying to clear the legs. Pavor puts him back in close guard.
3 of Pavor's 5 amateur victories coming via submission, so very comfortable.
And he's trying to lock up that triangle right now, but he needs some hard hammer fists by the Biscuit. That arm is raining down some punches, but the left arm now, armbar.
It's right in front of us. Those rights are landing, but Pavor, like you said,
he's coming down with that right hand, and he's able to just punch his way out of that armbar. Wow.
Well, the best offense is sometimes, well, I said that correctly.
The best offense is offense. Sometimes
Yes.
the best defense is also more offense.
There you go.
That was one of the most wild sequences I've ever seen because, Johnny, that arm was hyperextended, but Benavidez didn't care, had one arm free, and he elected to keep striking.
It was the striking that gave Pavor no choice but to release.
We'll see if Benavidez wants to remain here, engage with Pavor on the floor. Looks like he does, trying to pass the guard now, trying to wrap up that neck again.
Such high volume here from Benavidez. He is relentless.
Just past the halfway point of the opening round. Benavidez might find himself in bottom here if he's not careful. Stepping over for the mount here.
Tremendous composure by Pavor now. Weathered the storm.
Giving up his back is Benavidez, but he's able to turn into the guard here of Pavor. 3 minutes down in the opening round. We'll see if Pavor elects to try to shoot that triangle again. Benavidez now stacking inside the guard. Benavidez landed a ton of strikes on the floor. Now Pavor able to push him away and stand up back in space. 90 seconds remain in the round.
What a first round this has been to close out the prelims.
Let's not forget about that kick we saw early to open up the match by Pavor. Trying to throw some more flashy kicks. Oh, nice elbow finds a home.
Well, there was part of plan A coming into effect. Oh!
In with that lunging front kick. Final minute of the opening round. Nice right high kick.
Benavidez really having a difficult time defending these kicks.
Trying to do that elbow again, sneaky elbow. Same elbow that Yair Rodriguez found on the Korean Zombie inside the UFC. 30 seconds left in the opening round. Exchanging knees here.
Benavidez told us yesterday when we asked him what his style was, he said, "I like to stand and bang." He's certainly done that, but also been so impressive on the ground.
First 5 minutes in the books. Interesting one to score here. We saw Benavidez floored with that kick early in the fight. Then he was in command on the floor, but it was still Pavor that dictated some of the pace on the floor with the submission attempts. Benavidez able to punch his way out of it. And then back on the feet, we saw more dynamic strikes from Pavor. That one was the first one that opened up the night, sort of setting the tone for this one, John.
Well, one of the first things you learn in jiu-jitsu is to be patient and be in control, and Pavor was in very dangerous spots throughout the first couple of minutes of that first round. You mentioned even the arm bar, but, he was able to weather the storm, and, most likely Benavidez did take that first round, but Pavor was starting to find his range with those kicks in the final minute or two.
I actually disagree with you. I don't do that often.
Okay.
I saw it for Povor.
Did you really?
I did. I thought he was better on the feet, dropped his opponent, had a submission attempt. Yeah, he lost it, by the striking onslaught. I think this one's close.
It could have been the ground and pound happening right in front of our faces that won it for me. But nonetheless, what a first round it was.
A lot left to go in our final prelim of the night.
Both of these fighters showing no signs of butterflies making their professional debut. They have come out firing. Benavidez just switching back and forth, just controlling center, charging in now.
Able to close the distance, now inside the clinch. Elevation here and a takedown for Benavidez inside the open guard of Cyrus Povor.
A lot of power behind the biscuit.
Trying to utilize the elbows here inside the guard. Trying to get an entanglement here as Povor. 1 minute down here in the second.
Benavidez, he's trying to make a pass into side control. And, oh, okay.
Really interesting. We talked about the strategy of the biscuit, Brian Benavidez, who said he was going to sort of sprawl and brawl. He's been the offensive grappler here in this fight, and again in round number 2, and we saw nice little tactic there by Povor trying to induce a scramble, but it's a biscuit who's back on top.
Yeah, Benavidez really had us believing he wanted to have a stand-up throwdown, but he has shown an incredible arsenal, and now multiple strikes, hammer fist. Povor struggling to cover up.
In full side control here is the biscuit Benavidez. Very patient here is Benavidez. Able to get half butterfly as Povor. Trying to come back with the right hands is Benavidez. Up kick lances. Again with glancing up kick. Oh, that one landed.
Benavidez might be the most aggressive fighter we have seen so far tonight.
Always forward, just forward, forward, forward with his offensive mindset as we just get past the halfway point of the fight. Povor able to get back to his feet. Touch over 2 minutes remain here in round number 2. Doing a good job at shutting down the offensive grappling mindset of Povor's Benavidez, and he's hanging heavy on that head.
This has really been a rather dominant round for Benavidez.
Able to get back and free as Povor. Touch over 90 seconds remain here in round number 2.
Let's see now if Povor can find his range again, start landing some kicks. That's really been his best offense thus far. Oh. And Benavidez, he does swing wildly. He's going to leave himself open at times.
Povor really tries to do that reverse up elbow from time to time. It's very flashy. And now Benavidez trying to hang heavy again on that neck, trying to wrap up maybe a 10-finger guillotine. Inside the final minute of round number 2. Now Povor able to get in top position, knee on belly. We'll see if Benavidez has grappling in defense, covering up here as Povor trying to come alive with some right hands.
This is exactly what Povor needs. Can Benavidez survive the final 30 seconds here in the second round?
Posturing up here is Pobor. Benavidez doing enough to keep the damage at bay. Short time here in round number 2. And that is a wrap for the first 10 minutes. Solid round for Benavidez, who is gassed as he gets helped back to his stool. Pobor made an attempt to sort of steal that round with some late offense, but I think Benavidez was really in command throughout the first majority of that round, but we'll see what he has. Nice big elevation takedown. He drug this to the floor, and this isn't exactly what Sprawl and Brawl looks like, Johnny, but for the Biscuit, Benavidez pretty successful here in round number 2.
Benavidez definitely has an unorthodox style, but he has such an unrelenting force behind everything he does. He really didn't start to show signs of fatigue until the final 90 seconds or so of that second round. He was in control before, didn't have an answer. And I was about to say, Benavidez has a non-stop motor. He has a never-ending battery. But like you said, it was finally, towards the end of that second round, he started to show signs of fatigue. So this is going to be a war of attrition here. Both fighters have never gone this long in their careers.
Back up a little bit, Brian.
We'll see what can happen here. Final 5 minutes between these men. Our final prelim of the night here in Visalia, California. TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasto. Appreciate you joining us for Uriah Faber's A1 combat. Cyrus Pavor employing those kicks early here. And that one came high.
Benavidez not doing a great job of keeping his hands up.
And now he finds himself on his back early in the 3rd round. See if Pavor elects to try to show off his grappling skills here in top position.
Every second of this round so pivotal. Could very well be that we're tied at 1 right now in the judge's eyes.
Benavidez able to will himself back to the feet. Really fun fight here. Every second that it's lasted, and now Benavidez able to get Pavor back to the floor. Don't forget, after this one, we move to UFC Fight Pass for our main card. Live and exclusive, main evented by the California Kid, Uriah Faber, taking on the BJJ legend in Jeff Glover. Christian Avalos looks to defend his A1 combat title for the very first time. Again, all live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass immediately following this bout.
Pavor just staying patient here, waiting for an opening, but Benavidez
the mindset here of Benavidez, I think, obviously he's, feeling the effects of this fight, but if he does just enough to maintain this position on the floor, you got to believe that every second that ticks by where he's in a dominant position is going to speak volumes to the judges.
And for the most part, when Benavidez has been aggressive, it's been successful. So he has stayed aggressive for the majority of these 3 rounds.
Yeah, I don't know if the Biscuit can be conservative. It's just, all in or nothing.
You could just tell the way he fights. Benavidez is just built different psychologically than most others.
And what more could you ask for as a fan? He has done his part, and we've seen a variety of dynamic sort of techniques from Cyrus Pavor, but right now he just needs to get back to his feet and try to get away from the smothering Brian Benavidez.
Yeah, thus far, we're halfway through round 3, and Pavor has not done enough in this round at least.
I agree with that. Trying to utilize some elbows from his back is Pavor.
And very wise, like you said, by Benavidez to stay in this position, essentially. He has not been able to defend himself against the kicks that have been very accurate from Pavor.
See if Pavor can try to make the cage work for him. Maybe wall walk to try to get back up. He's looking over at his corner is Pavor, getting some advice. Corner of Pavor employing him to Trying to land some more elbows from his back.
Benavidez very content right now.
As he should be. I mean, again, I think Povor's got two opponents in front of him. He's got Benavidez in the clock, and while I know he's landing some strikes off his back and maybe trying to utilize the shoulder crunch and nice quick short right elbow there, this isn't speaking the way that Benavidez's offense is to the judges. Bit of a scramble there, now trying to wrap up the neck of Benavidez's Povor. 1 minute remains.
You know, we talk about the striking of Benavidez, but such impressive grappling against someone like Pavor, who has 3 submission victories in his undefeated amateur career.
45 seconds left in the fight. Again, both of these men making their professional debuts here with A1 Combat. A phenomenal fight as we enter the final 30 seconds.
Benavidez has done such a great job of just staying tight and not allowing really any openings for Pavor. Staying tight, staying heavy.
Final 10 seconds in the flyweight fight.
Break.
15 minutes in the books between the Biscuit, Brian Benavidez, and Cyrus Povor. Judges going to decide our winner. Ton of heart on display by both men. You look at the way that the Benavidez finished that second round, the way he came back in the third. I mean, incredibly impressive with the gas tank and, you know, the strategy and tactics. I mean, I think he maybe did enough. We'll find out. Again, what a competitive fight. For both of these men to be in this competitive of a fight in their first pro match here at A1, I mean, man, both these guys, very bright futures, to say the least.
Yeah, no question. To be in front of a few thousand fans here, to be, you know, live for A1 Combat, just so impressive. Win or lose, whether you're Benavidez or you're Pavor, a great start to your professional career. And what a prelim we had. I mean, you know, 2 flashy first-round finishes bookended by 2 tremendous fights that went to decision.
Judges tallying their 10s and 9s to see who has done this one. If I'm doing my, you know, amateur scorecards cage side here, I think I'm at 29-28 for Benavidez. You 30-27?
I would actually be, 30-27, but I would understand 29-28 as well.
Very close, even first round. Both men doing everything they could to make an argument. Then we saw the positional dominance on display of Benavidez again with some ground and pound in the second, and then the third, more of the same. I didn't know if Benavidez was going to have the cardio to get through it to close this one out, but he did. And you can see Povor raising his hands in the air. He thinks he has done enough. The Biscuit, he thinks he's done enough.
For both of them to know that they could go full tilt for 15 minutes like this, and to find out in your professional debut, that's really incredible.
Absolutely. All right, the decision is in. It lies with Garrett Furte.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action-packed action in our featured flyweight prelim, we go to your 3 judges at cage side for the decision. Your first judge, Jonathan Romero, sees it 30-27, while judges David Shirley and Felicia O both see it 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision, Brian Biscuit Benavidez.
Brian Benavidez now 1-0 as a pro. He gets his hand raised. A unanimous decision goes his way as he dispatches Cyrus Povor. What a fight. What a match. What a night it is for the Biscuit, Brian Benavidez, as he puts a punctuation mark on an exciting preliminary portion of Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. All right, let's take a look at this fight recap, Johnny. Everything we could ask for a preliminary card and everything we could ask for a featured prelim between these two.
No question, Brian Benavidez, the Biscuit keeps battling. That's exactly what he did throughout these 3 rounds. Pavor coming in very technically skilled, blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 3 first-round finishes, but Benavidez with that high-octane offense was really able to neutralize a lot of Pavor's offense, and tremendous finish and a unanimous decision.
Solid stuff for the Biscuit, Brian Benavidez. Solid stuff for our preliminary portion of the night. Of course, it leads to our main card, live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass. Uriah Faber headlining in a combat jiu-jitsu main event against BJJ legend Jeff Glover, and we've got our championship matchup as Christian Avalos defends his title for the first time against Justin Cornell. Our action continues live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass. You do not want to miss this exciting night of professional mixed martial arts action with a return of the California Kid, Uriah Faber, taking on Jeff Glover. It is headed your way next, live, right there on UFC Fight Pass. Go sign up at UFCFightPass.com. Johnny LaQuasso is going to be there. I'm TJ DeSantis. We're going to be there. You should be there. Minutes from now, please join us live from Visalia. This is Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21.
just ended this fight.
The throne defended by the young Titan. Wow.
He gives him the Uriah.
Carly Chandler with an opportunity to tap out the goal. Wow.
This time he's in trouble.
Bad spot here. The submission. Miguel Ceja.
It's been an amazing night of fights. From top to bottom.
The Central Valley of California has been a mecca for mixed martial arts action, as this area of the country has some of the deepest roots to MMA history. And tonight, Uriah Faber's A1 Combat Cage returns to beautiful Visalia, California, as we're inside the convention center to write some history of our own, as an exciting night of mixed martial arts action is you headed your way live on UFC Fight Pass. Hey everybody, I'm TJ DeSantis along with Johnny LaQuasto. We welcome you to Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21. Johnny, an exciting night of pro mixed martial arts action, and it's all capped off with the return of the California kid, Uriah Faber. He takes on BJJ legend Jeff Glover.
I mean, what could you say about Uriah Faber and Jeff Glover? A couple of Hall of Famers. You would need a medieval scroll to list off all of their accomplishments, but I'll give it a shot here. You know, Jeff Glover, two-time Pan Am champion, no-gi world champion, 34 grappling victories, and Faber, 35-11 as a pro, 17 sub-victories, and out of 46 professional fights, he has never lost via submission. This is a dream that we get to watch tonight.
And it's fitting that Faber returns to the Central Valley to engage in combat jiu-jitsu. This is the same Central Valley where the WEC started. It's perfect for a WEC legend and icon like Uriah Faber to return tonight. Also returning tonight, looking to defend his title for the very first time, is the A1 Combat Lightweight Champion, Christian Avalos. He hopes to pen the first chapter of his championship legacy.
Cannot wait for this one. The lightweight title on the line. The challenger, Justin Cornell, coming in at 5-2 with a couple of first-round submissions. Lethal in Muay Thai, vicious striker. He feels that he's ready to take the gold, but the incumbent, Christian Avalos, 4-1. He has 4 victories, 4 first-round finishes, 4 by submission. The Land Shark is ready to defend what's his.
The championship is on the line, and Christian Avalos believes if he has a win tonight with some style points, it could definitely open up some doors for the Land Shark. Let's take a look at some of the other action that is headed your way live on UFC Fight Pass. We mentioned Uriah Faber taking on Jeff Glover in combat jiu-jitsu action. Lightweight championship on the line as Christian Avalos takes on Justin Cornell. Chris Mikatse, he meets Jalen Alston. Shane Collins returns tonight. He takes on Salvatore Bruno. We will see the Indian in Satish Gowda make his pro debut after an extensive amateur run. He hopes to shine under the A1 Combat lights. All right, our night of action is set to get underway. We go inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
And now, ready for our first fighter this evening, Martin Sandoval.
Martin Sandoval making the walk tonight to kick off our main card here, live on UFC Fight Pass. Sandoval 0-1 as a pro, hunting for the first win of his professional campaign. Came up short to Blake DeCourcy in his last fight, which was a rematch from his amateur run. And tonight, no different. He finds himself in a rematch again from a victory that he had as an amateur when he takes on Chris Paez. He stopped Paez in their first meeting. Tonight he hopes to do so again, but this time as a pro.
And you know, Sandoval really said that loss taught him a lot. The former All-State wrestler was so impressive as an amateur. 4-1, finishes in 3 of those 4 amateur fights. But what he said he learned following that loss to DeCourcy DeCourcy is he had to be more disciplined, he had to be more focused. Since that loss, he quit his full-time job, and now his full-time job is doing what he's doing right now. Along with being a father to 3 girls, he has truly learned how to balance out his life, but he knows that this is the moment that he needs to step up and gain that first professional victory.
Sandoval has a wrestling background. He took 3rd in state here in the state of California. Says he's still tuning into MMA, but really mentioned that he learned a lot in that first fight. Going to have to check some leg kicks moving forward. We'll see if that is on his mind as he hunts for the first pro win of his career. All right, back inside the cage to Garrett Fertig.
And now his opponent, Chris Paez.
Chris Paez, training out of the Throne MMA in Fresno, California. 6-2 as an amateur, making his pro debut tonight. Momentum on his side. His last 2 fights as an amateur were victories, and he would love nothing more than to avenge one of his amateur losses by picking up his first pro win against a familiar foe.
And he was more than impressive as an amateur. 7 of his 8 fights came in the 559 Fights cage, one of the most tremendous amateur promotions in the entire country. He also won the Camo State title at 145, and it was that moment where he told us yesterday, he said, once I got that title, I knew it was time to make my professional debut, and he waited for that call, and A1 gave it to him. He's in his backyard, he's ready.
At 22 years old, Paez has been training mixed martial arts for the better part of 7 years. Started as a wrestler, been at it since he was 6 years old, and you know, for wrestlers, mixed martial arts is a great way to extend that competitive career, and you know, I still think it's a cornerstone for any successful mixed martial artist. If you can dictate the pace with your wrestling, more often than not, you get your hand raised.
And I think we see that time and time again at the highest levels in UFC. Wrestlers really have a much smoother transition for the most part. On top of, you know, wrestling being his lifeblood, he's a blue belt now. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he continues to improve there. So rest assured, he's looking to take this to the ground. He also does train a lot with Christian Avalos, the lightweight champion at the Throne. So this is a very intriguing matchup we have here.
Interesting, I mentioned this is a rematch. You can guarantee that both men have trained and changed so much since that first meeting, and now it's for all the bragging rights, and of course a check as well. You get your show money as a pro, and I mean, you get money as a pro, Johnny, and the record doesn't go away. So a lot on the line here between these 2 men in this fight. All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape. 7 years the elder is Martin Sandoval to Chris Paez. Paez in his pro debut. Martin Sandoval looking for his first pro victory. Both men stand 5 feet 9 inches tall. All right, we are set for our first fight of the night. Here on our main card, we go to Garrett Fertig.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Visalia, California for A1 Combat 21. Faber versus Glover. For the Visalia Convention Center and live on UFC Fight Pass, we begin our main card with 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division, presented by Puff Pre-Rolls. We introduce first the blue corner, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing 145.8 pounds, returning to A1 Combat 0-1, representing Matt Mechanics from Porterville, California, Martin Stoogies Sandoval. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 9, weighing 143.3 pounds, with 3 of his 6 amateur wins coming by submission against 2 defeats. He makes his professional debut representing Dethrone MMA from Fresno, California. Please welcome Chris Paez. Referee for our opening main card bout, David Shirley.
David Shirley getting this featherweight assignment. It is Martin Sandoval taking on Chris Paez.
You know, TJ, I get the feeling Chris Paez developed quite a fan base throughout his 8-fight amateur career, judging by that reaction.
See if he can put on a show here in front of a fan-friendly crowd. Paez able to get a takedown early. Sandoval in bottom half.
Sandoval really left him open for